Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective, and today we've got an interesting device from Cabletime, who I've featured on the channel previously. Before I continue though, I do want to mention that Cabletime did send this product to me for the purposes of producing this video. However, I'm not being financially compensated beyond the receiving of the product, and my opinions, of course, remain my own. So now that we have that out of the way, this is a 6-in-1 USB hub that also has a stand, or should I say it's a stand that has a USB hub built in. So a couple of quick specs, just so you know right away if this is right for you or not. It is made out of aluminum or aluminium. It provides a 100 watt power delivery 3.0 system. It has HDMI at 4K 60 Hz, gigabit Ethernet, a USB Type-C port at 5 gigabits, transfer speed, and two USB-A ports at 5 gigabits per second transfer speeds. Let's open this up and see exactly what we get for the $140 US price tag. All right, we get ourselves an instruction manual and warranty card, and it goes through what's included in the box and the ports that are available, and this just lifts right out. All right, as we usually get, we have a very stiff stand. This does rotate, as you can hear, 360 degrees. Inside we have a Cabletime branded USB Type-C cable, so when the laptop is sitting up on the stand, it is plugged into the USB hub here on the back. And once again, that click you'll either like or it'll drive you crazy. And then the USB hub on the back here is held in with these tabs, and I believe, is there a magnet present or is it just the tabs? No, there is a magnet present in the two arms there. This is also housed in an aluminum chassis, and interestingly enough, it has screwed on caps either end. So we have some really small Phillips screws on this end and this end as well. So if you had to disassemble this or had a desire to, you could certainly do that. So we do have our two USB-A 3.0s, our USB Type-C 3.0, Ethernet, HDMI. This is power delivery, so this is where you'd have your line going into your mains, going into here. And then the host, that is where you'd be plugging the computer in once it is sitting on the stand. And of course, the nice part is that if you choose to go mobile, you can absolutely take this with you if you wanted. It's not built into the stand to the point where it becomes useless, which is a very small detail. But if you are investing in this stand, because it's not the cheapest stand out there, it's nice to be able to use it in as many configurations as possible. Let's go ahead and set up a possible use case for this stand, and we'll see what it's like. The first computer to test is the X1 Nano Gen 1. The things that I'm looking for here is obviously not whether or not it can hold the weight. We know it can absolutely hold the weight. That won't be an issue. Charging works no problem. A couple other things that we want to look for is that we've got a generous amount of overhang on the lip to hold this thing if we put it in a steeper configuration. And this is very stiff, so you're not going to move or bump this by accident. And one of the neat things about testing this with ThinkPads especially is you're always going to get that extra pushback on the display. And I think that's really important to recognize, is that depending on the angle that you want this to sit at, having your display be able to be pushed back means that these are actually pretty viable alternatives. So again, unsurprisingly, it holds one of the smallest ThinkPads ever built rather comfortably, but how does it do with a bigger one? So we've got the P15S here, and the P15S also is doing okay, but the one thing that I will note is we are at the threshold. The hooks here at the bottom, they are flush with this device. So I would say that there is the possibility that a full-size P15 might not give as much grip as you would like. So T series is probably okay, but larger workstation machines may not be as ideal. So again, this is probably the biggest you would want to go for a stand this size, but if it can hold a 15-inch, that's going to be the majority of laptops that you would be wanting to put on this. Just like any other stand, you do need to be mindful of how the bottom edge of the machine is manufactured. And what I mean by that is if it's chamfered very heavily, in other words, kind of swoops in underneath, and this one does do that, and I'll show you what I mean here, like so. If there's not enough to bite here to hold this machine in place, you do run the risk of it falling off. However, Cabletime did do a good job of making sure that there was some very grippy padding on the opposite edge here, as well as some really grippy padding here, here, and here. So you have like 6 points of high friction contact. So ladies and gentlemen, there's obviously a lot of potential in a product like this, depending on how you want to configure your setup. Having everything plugged in and having a single cable and the ability to elevate and rotate and tilt the laptop is really nice. Now, some brands do have their own docking station solutions that are phenomenally great. Very few will actually have a stand that's a part of that system. So if you are looking to solve both problems at the same time, and perhaps your manufacturer does not necessarily provide in-house solutions, this seems to be entirely viable, well built, and has a modest selection of ports. Now, if you are, very demanding, like if you are doing some intense stuff on your machine and transfer speeds are essential, multiple displays are essential, then this will fall short in a couple of areas. Like you're not driving loads and loads of super high resolution displays off of that uh, USB Type-C hub. If you require lightning fast Thunderbolt, 4 plus transfer speeds, this is also not going to give it to you. So you need to be aware of that. If you need something beefier, there are beefier solutions out there. But if you are looking for something sleek and all built in, then you might want to give this your consideration. I will leave some links in the description of the video if you want to learn more about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.